Have you ever come face to face with pure evil? I used to love feminists, until I met my wife. For a while we were perfect, but then she met a fresh social circle. These women weren't just opinionated, nothing could satisfy them. Hold a door for them? You think all women are children and can't do anything for themselves? Don't hold it? You're disrespectful and entitled. Walk behind them? You're a creep. Walk ahead? You're an egotistical a-hole. But I thought I could trust my wife to not follow the herd. But she did, and ended up ruining more than just her life and our marriage in the process. And it all started with a simple few arguments here and there. I'd leave my plates in the sink after a 14-hour shift, and suddenly, I was the reason for every abuser that wasn't convicted. Or if I started helping with our kids' homework, she'd pull me aside and tell me I'm inherently problematic, and my mansplaining just proves it. The warm, loving woman I married seemed to be vanishing before my eyes, replaced by someone cold and antagonistic. About then, an awful gut feeling washed over me, because I was playing video games with my son and went to high-five him, but then my stomach turned, because he flinched. I immediately noticed and talked to my wife about it, and she told me I had a fragile male ego. Her reasoning was that our son wasn't actually flinching. I was just lying to myself to make myself feel stronger and more powerful than her, because I was insecure. So yeah, pretty confusing, and not at all reassuring. So from then on, I made sure to pay extra close attention to our daughter and son. Every day I watched as they slowly became less and less like their energetic selves, and more timid. My son even started wetting the bed at night. Well, I cared endlessly more about our kids' well-being than the state of my marriage. Until one day, I came home early to a parked car in our driveway. My heart broke, but instead of confronting her, I drove off to a diner and came back a few hours later. I proceeded to ask her who she was bringing home when I was at work all day. My friends? Am I not allowed to have a life outside of this miserable house? My heart dropped. It suddenly became very clear that she didn't give an F about our family, and she was not the woman I thought she was. And as our children turned from more timid to actively fearful, I decided to take away one of her fundamental human rights. That right was her right to privacy. But when I checked her phone, most of the messages were deleted, and what remained was alarming. It was a conversation with one of her new friends discussing how Kayla should approach asking me for an open relationship. The friend advised her to ease into it and make him think it's his idea too. Obviously she was cheating, but I didn't even care about that anymore. I just needed to know who was laying hands on our kids. So in my head, this is what I'm thinking. I needed to formulate a plan that allowed me to get full custody of the kids. But since there was no prenup, I had to make sure I was left with enough that would still allow me to be a good father. So when Kayla casually brought up the idea of open relationships over breakfast, like it was just a random thought that had occurred to her, I was prepared. I had my phone recording in my pocket. She stirred her oatmeal nonchalantly. So I was reading about these couples who have open relationships. What do you think about that concept? I didn't yell. I didn't scream. Instead, I looked her straight in the eyes and asked with a clenched jaw, "Who is he?" Her cocky demeanor vanished instantly, like a mask sliding off. "What do you mean?" she stammered. But I wasn't falling for her innocence anymore. I couldn't finish the full story in this short video. To watch the rest of it unfold, click the link below.